India's electric vehicle market is expanding rapidly. Sales are surging, but the physical foundation to support all these new cars is struggling to keep up. Look at the sheer volume of traffic navigating Indian streets on any given day. Converting a meaningful percentage of these vehicles to electric power requires an enormous logistical and structural overhaul. While the EV sales numbers look spectacular on a spreadsheet, the public charging networks required to keep these vehicles running are alarmingly under-equipped to handle the incoming volume. The demand, however, is entirely real. Consumers are actively exploring showrooms and placing orders for new models at record rates. This creates a surge in adoption that masks deep, unresolved vulnerabilities. The real challenge of owning an EV in India begins after the paperwork is signed and the vehicle leaves the lot. This chart compares a hybrid's cost against an electric model. State subsidies drastically lower the EV's upfront cost. Now, looking at lifetime running costs, the EV's flat operational expense sits against sharply rising fuel prices. Saving money outranks environmental concerns for Indian buyers. Because money is the primary motivator, demand is incredibly sensitive to price changes. It fragments the market, creating heavy adoption exclusively in states that offer the most aggressive financial incentives. Going electric in India is currently a personal finance calculation. If those regional subsidies are ever reduced or removed, the entire market's momentum could stall out. Beyond the finances, there is a severe physical risk threatening the grid right now: India's increasingly common 50°C summer heat waves. This schematic outlines an EV battery connected to a charging system. Many deployed chargers were never stress-tested for 50-degree temperatures. In extreme heat, charging efficiency drops, equipment degrades faster, and sudden power fluctuations cause grid instability. This is an inherent engineering flaw in the hardware itself, not a routine maintenance backlog that can be fixed with a quick software update. If the physical charging hardware cannot adapt to the reality of the Indian climate, the financial incentives driving the EV transition won't matter, especially in the country's hottest regions. Expanding out to the national level, the raw infrastructure numbers reveal another massive vulnerability. Across the entire country, India currently has only around 27,000 to 30,000 public charging stations available to support the influx of new electric cars. This animation illustrates the resulting bottleneck. That limited footprint leaves the country with roughly one single public plug for every 200 electric vehicles. Operating at a 1 to 200 ratio creates intense range anxiety, the constant fear of your battery dying before you find a charger, and guarantees long delays. It also practically halts consumer adoption in smaller, non-metro cities, where chargers are even scarcer. In contrast, the commercial transport sector is scaling up rapidly. India recently opened its largest heavy EV charging hub, featuring high-capacity towers dedicated entirely to electrifying logistics vehicles and buses. Logistics and commercial fleets are securing their infrastructure because continuous operation is an absolute economic necessity for them, leaving the everyday consumer network lagging far behind. Looking at all the data, the true state of India's electric vehicle transition becomes clear. This stylized map highlights the distinct policy zones across the entire country. It shows a highly fragmented, state-subsidized boom that is actively outrunning the physical limits of its own infrastructure. For the individual buyer, choosing an EV right now means accepting significant operational risks and climate vulnerabilities in exchange for immediate financial savings at the dealership and the pump. The entire movement now hinges on the pace at which reliable, heat-resilient charging stations can be deployed to match the subsidized demand. At EVs 24/7, our goal is to cut through the industry hype and deliver the practical, wallet-focused facts you need to navigate this transition. So, weighing your personal financial priorities against the current state of the infrastructure, would you buy an EV today or wait for the network? Let us know below and make sure to subscribe for more grounded EV insights.